NTA Parliament is a dedicated 24-hour channel that broadcasts the activities of the Nigerian Senate, Federal House of Representatives, and all the 36 state houses of assembly. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
Disaster management is critical for Lagos because it is naturally prone to disaster as a coastal city with limited land areas and a large population of about 22 million, which is one of the reasons why emergency responders always face challenges in getting to the scene of any accident in record time. This is not any way limited to only state emergency responders, as the federal body also battles this anomaly, as the issue of timeliness and accessibility have been an impediment. What is the level of preparedness to disaster management in Lagos State? How can the state address the challenges of timelines, mitigate response and recovery? These and more will be discussed on Panorama today, coming to you live from the Lagos Network Center of the Nigerian Television Authority. My name is Adeola Komiakere. Be reminded that you can follow this news live online on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now, Facebook page, Network News, and YouTube channel NTA Live. Now, our reports just reaching us says President Muhammadu Buhari has launched the national policy on fifth-generation 5G networks for Nigeria's digital economy. The president directs security institutions to immediately leverage on 5G when deployed in order to beef up security across the country. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has launched the Bank of Industry Growth Platform Report, a nationwide infrastructure with a vision for sustainable economic growth for MSMEs. Benny Adams reports that under the BOI's growth platform, there are plans to bring on board 25 million MSMEs beneficiaries by 2025.
There has always been aid given for survival for people or communities in their need, just to keep hope alive. But a new thinking is introducing aid as stimulus for productivity. This concept seeks to beat poverty through a growth platform that intends to digitize millions of micro, small and medium enterprises and provide tranches of capital to raise their productivity and incomes, strengthen their sustainability, and contribute to job creation and economic development.
We can actually build systems that will serve everybody fairly and justly and bring credibility to government programs, especially government programs that involve handing out cash. And I must say that that bold vision was expressed in the most ambitious social intervention project in Nigeria's recent history, and as we've heard, possibly in Africa.
The Bank of Industry says its growth platform's portfolio of funding has given credit and grants to more than 4 million businesses across 7 programs, amounting to more than $400 million, and plans to bring on board 25 million MSME beneficiaries by 2025.
Today, through this particular platform, we offer end-to-end processes, technology, and field infrastructure for transparent profiling and delivery of financing to MSMEs in all local governments of Nigeria.
And share highlights of our work, the innovative thinking, the systems and processes that we built, the growing suite of programs that we have supported and their beneficiaries, and the growing impact so far.
It's undoubted that the access to finance is key to achieve growth and productivity, and that MSMEs are at the center, at the heart of economic activity in Nigeria.
The growth platform is able to target, document, profile and deliver interventions to the MSMEs with the power of biometrics, BVN as digital collateral, mobile data capture, mobile wallets, and a network of agents. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed says the planned removal of fuel subsidy after June this year as provided in the 2022 budget is no longer possible. She stated this when she briefed the leadership of the Senate on the circumstances that led to the suspension of a 6-month subsidy removal plan.
On the 18th of this month, President of the Senate Ahmed Lawan met President Muhammadu Buhari over the possible implications of removing fuel subsidy this time. 5 days after, that engagement has extended to the conference room of the President of the Senate with the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, and other heads of oil and gas public institutions in attendance. Senator Lawan buttressed the implications of removing fuel subsidy this time and urged the executive to continue to fashion out modalities on how and when to remove fuel subsidy that will have less impact on the people.
We believe that the issue of the removal of subsidy should be handled with utmost care, that the timing should be such that the impacts and consequences would not add to hardships.
Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed provided reasons for the suspension of the subsidy removal and proposed remedial measures.
Practically, there is still heightened inflation, and also removal of subsidy will further worsen the situation, thereby imposing more difficulties on the citizens. And Mr. President clearly does not want to do that. In terms of putting in place a number of measures, one of which is the deployment of an alternative to the PMS, which is the CND, and also the rollout of enhanced refining capacity in the country, including the 650,000 barrels per day Dangote refinery, and also the rehabilitation of the 4 national refineries that have a combined nameplate capacity of 450,000 barrels per day.
And I'm taking this opportunity to appeal to TUC and LSE to shelve this plan to go on strike or demonstration is totally unnecessary. There is not going to be removal of subsidies.
The minister also informed the legislators that the executive may be forwarding a request for parliamentary approval for additional funds to cover subsidy from July 2022. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Promise made is now being fulfilled as the federal government is set to begin the implementation of natural gas for vehicles. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Timothy Silva says government is providing funding to oil marketers to build the necessary infrastructure required for the takeoff of the program. Again, Benny Adams reports.
The federal government in 2020 launched the National Gas Expansion Program, which gave life to the Natural Gas for Vehicles initiative. And now it is intensifying efforts for full implementation. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timothy Silva, in a meeting with major oil marketers across the country, announced that government is providing 50% funding, while the original petroleum marketers, that is, the OEMs, will provide the other 50%. The target is to convert 1 million vehicles to autogas, starting with 200,000 commercial vehicles weekly across the country.
The burden is not to be on you now. Already the funding is in place. We are looking at our own side providing 50% of the funding, the country OEMs providing the other 50%, and you coming in to this fund.
The marketers gave strategic suggestions on their preparedness to deploy the natural gas vehicles within the shortest possible time frame.
We left this meeting and set up working groups to look at how best to implement it, determine the scope, and work through some sort of feasibility.
Remember, Honorable Minister, that before this, you already had a gas program, National Gas Expansion Program, in which millions have gone into as well.
What we feel is that once the numbers are right, you do not necessarily need to tell any Nigerian investor, or indeed any investor anywhere.
The Decade of Gas policy promises that nothing less than 40% of vehicles will run on gas in the next 3 years. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Abducted Bayelsa State Commissioner for Trade and Investment, Mr. Federal Otokito, has regained his freedom. His abductors released him 5 days after he was kidnapped from his Otokboti community resident in Ogbia, local government area of the state. The Bayelsa Commissioner of Police, Mr. Ben Nebolisa, said the State Director of the State Security Services, Mr. Mohammed Abdullahi, presented Mr. Otokito to Governor Diri on Monday evening at Government House, Yenagua. After the release, Governor Diri announced the deposition of the Otokboti community paramount leader, Chief ACT Wango, and appointed Chief Rescue Abi in acting capacity. The governor also announced the sacking of the community's development committee chairman Azibalua Amon and replaced him with Jerry Ofo in acting capacity, while the youth president Emolem Igwe was also removed and replaced with Shedrack Afiemo. They are alleged to have been found complicit in the kidnap of the commissioner. A statement by the Chief Press Secretary, Mr. Daniel Alabra, quoted the governor as reaffirming the state government's zero tolerance to crime and kidnapping. Governor Diri warned all those who see kidnapping as a business to desist, as his government will not hesitate to invoke the law and make the state uncomfortable for criminal elements. He called on all community leaders to remain vigilant and ensure that peace prevails in their communities, as government will not hesitate to sanction anyone found wanting in the discharge of their duties. The new professional and ethical height that the Nigerian police seeks to attain is expected to start right from the process of recruitment. At a one-day sensitization workshop with stakeholders, the Police Service Commission says going forward, only the best from the society must be encouraged to join the force. Adeniyi Taiwo completes the report.
A sincere efforts should always be made to encourage upright, well brought up, and responsible citizens to apply for recruitment and be properly screened.
That appeal by the Chairman, Police Service Commission, retired Inspector General of Police Musliu Smith, is the major agenda at the town hall meeting with stakeholders from Lagos and Ogun State, as the process of recruiting another 10,000 constables into the police gets underway across the country. Noting that the recruitment offers the police a fresh opportunity to begin the crucial task of redeeming itself by attracting the best, Lagos and Ogun State governors say the society must get involved in the process.
All our children in your communities, they are your children, and we believe that we should encourage them to join the Nigerian Police Force and the other armed forces.
The police officers present here, I want to let us know that a little effort can go a long way to change the way we are perceived by the public.
Interrogating why educated and responsible Nigerians are reluctant to join the force, stakeholders, including members of the Police Community Relations Committee, raised some issues of concern.
The Nigerian police rank and file, especially rank and file, even the officers are left to fend for themselves.
If you look around now, most of the special constables
As the federal government takes steps to respond to welfare demands of the police, the Service Commission appealed to other tiers of government and private concerns to join in the effort by providing incentives for responsible youths to join the force. In Lagos, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
You can follow this news live online on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now, on Facebook at Network News, and YouTube channel NTA Live. We will take a break now. We'll come back in just a moment to stay on.
Nigerians, coronavirus is dangerous. It can kill. When you see this sign, high fever, cough, shortness of breath, drowsiness, pneumonia, don't panic, don't hide, don't embark in self-medication. Promptly visit the nearest medical facility. Report all cases to the nearest hospital. Prevention is key. Avoid contact with infected persons. Avoid crowded areas as much as possible. Wash your hands regularly. Use hand sanitizers. Your life is precious. Stay alive. Live long, live right. This message is sponsored by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture and the Nigerian Film Corporation. Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possibility.
Thank you for staying on. Emergencies and disasters occur many a times without prior notice to the victims. Some natural, while others are mostly human errors. Abolade Salami takes a look at response to emergency and disaster management in Lagos.
The metropolitan city of Lagos, with a growing population and intense economic activities, stands vulnerable to disasters and emergencies. Statistics from Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, shows that the safety agency in the first half of year 2021 responded to a total of 822 emergencies and disasters, reflecting a 60% increase compared with 2020. Most frequent were fuel tanker and gas cylinder explosion and fire outbreaks. The frequency of building collapse is not also in doubt, as witnessed when a 21-story building caved in Ikoyi and claimed many lives.
That are mostly responsible for building collapse, structural failure, using substandard materials. Majorly, when people are having their concrete mixings, they do not consider the real ratio.
While most of the successes recorded in disaster management have been attributed to timely distress calls and prompt response by emergency responders, the deployment of technical know-how by trained personnel, and the use of sophisticated equipment, as well as synergy with other safety officials, were noted as germane.
So achieving this was purely the effective and efficient stakeholders, cooperation, partnership, and synergy.
The interventions of responders to emergencies may have saved lives and property, but the need to adopt a new approach to handling disasters through the use of technology is being suggested as more results-oriented.
Coming all the way from Ikeja, for a fire incident in VI, you will encounter traffic. So, to me, that is slowing down their quick response to emergency in Lagos State. So I'm suggesting that they should deploy the 21st century equipments and technologies used in other developed nations to respond to emergencies.
As part of efforts to ensure effective response and mitigation of emergencies and disasters towards the realization of minimizing occurrences in Lagos, residents are being urged to be safety conscious and call the toll-free lines in case of any form of emergency. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
And joining me live in the studio to throw more light on disaster management in Lagos is the DG, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, Mr. Femi Okeosonitolu. Thank you for joining us on Panorama.
Good afternoon.
All right, now, Lagos is said to be peculiar in so many ways, right? And the frequency of disaster or emergency situation in the state tends to agree with this. So tell us, what is it about Lagos that, that causes, cases of emergencies as we often record?
Well, you will realize the peculiarity locations of Lagos States and the commercial value of Lagos States. We have a lot of high inflow of people to Lagos State. We have international airport, we have seaport, and these make it vulnerable to a lot of emergency or disaster. But as a government, we've done what we call vulnerability analysis, risk analysis to what Lagos states are really exposed to. And we have commenced building the resilience of the good people of Lagos State from the grassroots. Today, we have what we call the local emergency management committee put in place. We have sophisticated equipment. We have command control center. We are opening what we call operational center in various divisions of the state. The government just launched the Security and Emergency Center at Ekpe. We are building another one at Badagry. And the most important thing is that we have been holistic in the way we are managing emergency.
Okay, now, while victims are concerned, residents sometimes allege and complain, about response time to emergency. Your agency also complain about interference of residents and lack of access to disaster scenes. All right, now, briefly give us a sense of a kind of cooperation that you and your agency and other first responders will want from Nigerians in a crisis situation.
Yeah, number one, we want them to disseminate proper information, which means when we are responding to any form of emergency, people should not be using Facebook, Twitter to be putting the numbers which is not correct about what is happening. Yes. Secondly, we want them to give way. When we are moving with our sophisticated vehicles to the scene of emergency, we don't want any form of interferences or obstructions. We want them to give way. Again, when we are at the scene of emergency and we are first responders, we are experts, professionals in handling this thing, we don't want people to be taking pictures. We don't want people to be sending fake pictures about. We don't want the hoodlums to be demanding funds from emergency responders before we could respond to any form of emergency. And we want it to be clear that in Lagos State, when there's any form of emergency, what you just need to do is to call us on our emergency number, 112767. We will kickstart emergency response from the local level where the scene or where the incident has occurred.
Okay, now, DJ, in terms of preventive measures and disaster management awareness, what is the agency doing against the background of the numerous preventable disasters recorded last year?
Yeah, what we did is that we've moved the media aspects to become first class, our first responders. Okay. So with that, we are carrying out a lot of aggressive dissemination of information. We are carrying out building the capacity from the grassroots. We are carrying out enlightening, and we are building the vocational clubs like Boy Scouts, like Red Cross, like Guys Guide.
So you need a collaborative effort.
We want to catch them young, so that they will educate our mothers, where our mothers now will become incident commanders. They will ensure that they have fire extinguishers in their homes. They will ensure that when they are not using any form of electrical appliances, it must be switched off. Okay. They will ensure that the building are built in such a way that will not obstruct free flow of water.
All right. Now, how robust is your collaboration with other agencies? LASEMA can't do disaster management alone.
No. The relationship that we are having with all other first responders is super.
Okay.
All our first responders, our second responders, we normally carry out what we call simulation exercises. We soon carry out what we call the stakeholders meeting. And LASEMA, under the watch of this present government, we are coming with what we call 5-year plan.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. DJ, we'll be speaking with DJ LASEMA in Lagos State. He has shared his thoughts on disaster management in Lagos. Thank you for coming in Panorama today.
You're welcome.
Up next is Sports Update.
President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, has commended the efforts of the Super Eagles despite